Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Check the Record, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go on and pause the music, ladies and gentlemen. My bad, I was jamming out. But let's go ahead and get into it today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm starting a new series, the Child Support series. If anybody knows me, man, my background, I started in family court, and I'm still, in federal court currently. I have a federal lawsuit against multiple counties, the state, multiple different actors. If y'all want to look that up, you can look it up at Raspberry v. Cobb County, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to touch on child support for all my fathers out there, and I want to talk about different remedies because this is going to be the last remedy that you're gonna need. All right. This is how you defeat child support. We're going to go through multiple different remedies, and I'm going to show you how that each remedy is attacking something different, okay? And this is stuff that I want you to know. This is stuff you're just generally not going to find on the internet. We're going to have multiple parts to this. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all go ahead, strap in, grab your notepads and pencils. Tell all the fathers about it, because right now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are defeating child support. Let's get it. All right. The first thing that we're going to get into, ladies and gentlemen, about child support, we have to understand what child support really is. And a lot of people think that it's just, well, for deadbeat fathers, you're supposed to be on child support, or it's support for the children. No, it's not. And here on Check the Record, we're not going off what you think. We're going off what you know. Okay? So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to go to ChatGPT because Google tends to be up on that BS. We are not going for that. So, what is child support? Let's start there. Let's just start. We use ChatGPT. We use 03 functioning. We use the reasoning function. Ladies and gentlemen, do not use the new functions, man. Them things are soulless. Use the reasoning function. All right, what is child support? Let's go ahead and break it down. All right. Now, it's going to break down. It's going to say that money is, they said the purpose, money, one parent pays the other, or the state agency to help cover a child's everyday living expenses, housing, food, clothing, all this good stuff. Who pays? The non-custodial parent. We're aware of that, ladies and gentlemen. They try to label you a legal distinction of non-custodial versus custodial, or a parent that, lives less than 50%. Now, let's stop there for a second. Why would the child or children be living less than 50% with the other parent? Let's just start there. Why isn't either adult, because I don't like the word parent. Parent deals with a pair of agents that are renting their children. Because we're gonna break down in this series why that's a real thing, and honestly, like how that really breaks down. Because according to the IRC, and we'll get into that, your children are property. Remember that. Remember that I said that. Your children are property. All right. Now, how it's set, the courts and state courts and agency statutory formulas, they plug them in, yada, yada, yada. How's it collected? Wage withholding. Wow. Why is that the first one? All right. They can also apply by electronic, blah, blah, blah. We know what child support is. Okay. Child support, by definition, here's your first case law, ladies and gentlemen, case law of the day. Under 28 USC 3001. I didn't put C there, my bad. USC 3001. The Federal Debt Collection Act. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and start here, because this is where, real definitions come from. We only operate in ruling authority. Are we clear, ladies and gentlemen? We only operate in ruling authority. I don't operate in anything else. All right? Ruling authority. Ruling authority, ladies and gentlemen. Ruling authority only. So while that searches, here we go. Oh, it does. And see, this is why you don't like to use ChatGPT also. See, it starts to refer to the amounts of the debt owed and, all of this good stuff. But let me show y'all a trick. Let me show you a trick. Because I don't like ChatGPT sometimes. Man, I swear ChatGPT just starts with that BS. All right. Here we go. I have my file pulled up already. Transcript, legal document formatting. Was this it? Private bond declaration, affidavit. Oh, no. I think this is it. Yes. I do a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. Transcribing notice is entirely needed. Transcript. Oh, that's not it. The etymology. Is this it? Here it is. All right. Yeah, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a document that I created, but it is absolutely true. It goes into child support being a part of 28 USC 3001, a federal debt collection agency. Here we go. Title 4D child support collections are federal debt offsets governed by the federal debt collection procedures 28 USC 3001. Under 28 USC 3002 subsection 2, court means any court created by Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. This statutory exclusion demonstrates that Congress itself recognizes the tax court as an Article 1 legislative court, not an Article 3 constitutional court. The United States Tax Court is an Article 1 court composed of judges appointed by the president exercising legislative powers derived from Congress's power to lay and collect taxes under Title 4D administration proceedings operate under the same legislative court framework. So let's extrapolate that. Let's go ahead and get into that. All right, let's do this. Can we elaborate further in detail and how the overall, let me use my knowledge here, infrastructure of child support is flawed. All right, let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, let's just extrapolate. Hey, let's elaborate. Hey. See, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is why we gotta love AI. You gotta really love AI for these reasons. And this is this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and call this Title 4D, or rather, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna put I might name the video something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like fuck child support. You know what I'm saying? This is the only remedy you're gonna need. You know, come get a level of understanding. But here we go. Title 4D and the Article 1 quasi-judicial framework. The flawed infrastructure of child support, fiscal incentives versus constitutional rights. The current child support system is built upon a deeply problematic foundation where fiscal incentives have become intertwined with judicial functions, creating a system that often prioritizes revenue collection over the protection of constitutional rights. Title 4D in the federal reimbursement scheme. Title 4D of the Social Security Act creates a federal-state partnership where states receive federal reimbursement for operating child support enforcement programs. This creates an inherent financial incentive for states to maximize case volume and collection metrics. All right. Title 4D of the Social Security Act has inadvertently created a massive fiscal incentive for state family courts to prioritize revenue generation over the protection of the parent-child bond. By linking federal reimbursements to case volume and collection metrics, the system treats families as administrative subjects rather than one of the people. The Article 1/Article 3 distinction, so for people's, knowledge base, legislative courts versus constitutional courts. As established in my filing, the United States Tax Court is an Article 1 legislative court. Not all Article 3 constitutional courts. Not all Article 3 constitutional courts. Oh, wait. Let me read that again. As established in my filing, the United States Tax Court is an Article 1 legislative court, not an Article 3 constitutional court. Article 1 courts are created by Congress under its legislative powers and do not enjoy the same constitutional protections as Article 3 courts, including life tenure and salary protections for judges. Title 4D proceedings share several characteristics with Article 1 tribunals. Administrative origin. Title 4D is an administrative program governed by federal regulations, not constitutional or common law practices. The prosecutorial role. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Say that 5 times. State agencies act as both prosecutor and collector, blurring the lines between adversarial and administrative functions. Limited Article 3 safeguards. The proceedings lack many of the procedural safeguards that would be required in a true Article 3 court. Now, here goes the constitutional concerns, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they're violating you. Pay attention. The separation of powers, the delegation of judicial power to administrative tribunals without Article 3 protections raises fundamental separation of powers concerns. When administrative agencies exercise what is essentially judicial power, determining parental rights, liberties, and financial obligations without the independence guaranteed by Article 3, the system becomes constitutionally suspect. Dun, dun, dun. The erosion of protected rights. Here we go. Y'all thought it was a game, but see, this is what happens when you attack the authority, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you start asking questions and you get inquisitive and you're like, well, who are you? Where did you get your power? Because y'all do that on the internet. Y'all will go ask the creator, who are you? Where'd you get your power and all that? Why aren't you asking these judges that? I got my eyes open. All right. Organizations like Save the Family argue that this system leads to jurisdictional overreach and the erosion of constitutionally protected rights. The financial incentives built into Title 4D create a system where the state interest in collecting child support may override due process protections. Parents are treated as administrative subjects rather than rights-bearing individuals. The parent-child relationship becomes subordinate to fiscal objections. Let's talk about the infrastructure that I talked about, ladies and gentlemen. Structural flaws in the system. Conflicting roles. The same agency that enforces child support orders often has the power to seek modifications, calculate arrears, pursue contempt sanctions, combining prosecutorial, judicial, and administrative functions. The federal outreach. The federal funding scheme effectively compels states to adopt enforce mechanisms that may exceed traditional state police powers. Oh, man. Due process deficiencies. In many jurisdictions, child support proceedings lack fundamental due process protections, including meaningful notice and opportunity to be heard, the right to counsel, clear and convincing evidence standards, and unbiased adjudicators. Revenue motivation. Let's get this right. Critics argue that the system has become a $100 billion family court industry where the financial interests of the state may outweigh the best interests of the children and families. Let's run that back again. Whew, that got my heart pumping. Critics argue that it has become over $100 billion family court industry. So my lawsuit, when I tell y'all that I'm suing for $100+ million, upwards of $250 million, I'm coming for mine. Suggested additional research. To fully develop this argument for your filing, you should consider, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you should consider researching. Decisions challenging the constitutionality of Title 4D proceedings under Article 3 and the Due Process Clause. Treaty in international law, whether foreign trust assets are subject to domestic child support orders. That's going to be down the line. Definitely what we talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Legislative history, congressional intent behind Title 4D, and whether the drafters anticipated these constitutional concerns. Empirical studies, research demonstrating the relationship between federal funding formulas and enforcement outcomes. The search results cited a publication from Save the Family dated May 18, 2026. The organization appears to be actively challenging what they view systematic constitutional violations in family court systems. You may want to explore their research and legal arguments further. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to really extrapolate and really, talk about what we just read here today. Ladies and gentlemen, child support is infrastructurally, constitutionally violating. It's not until you start to activate it within the states does it become illegal and constitutionally void. Because you got to think, ladies and gentlemen, the creation of it itself, the actual just child support, you know what I'm saying? That's not illegal. What's illegal is, or what's constitutionally violating is the procedure and the overall intent behind it. Was the intent to help families come together and stay together? Hell no. The intent was, we're going to line our pockets up. We're going to grease them up. And that's just what it's going to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first part of what I was going to call, and I think I'll finally come up with a name, is fuck child support. I'm a little bit vulgar, y'all. I don't really care. But we're not going to sit here and, for all my fathers and people out there, I'm a little vulgar in that regard, but, maybe that just makes me a little bit more edgy. Y'all go check out the other videos on my channel. You'll see me in court. I'll let you know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care. When I go to court, I run the court. What's on the paper is what is happening in court. We talk about what I want to talk about, not what you want to talk about. And according to child support, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm saying? This is how you defeat it. Step number 1, we do research. All right, guys, y'all have a great rest of your day. We are out.